Beauty of editing is you can just edit out all this, like, whatever, you know, all this space.
No, stay in it.
Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
It is our basic human right to be fucked up.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Occultae Veritatis.
This is part 2 of a 2-part case. If you want some context and want to see how Gavin formed the Proud Boys and their first few public events, as well as an overlaying of their beliefs and practices, I would suggest you listen to part 1. But, without further ado, here's part 2 of the Proud Boys and Gavin McInnes.
In 1840, when Alexis de Tocqueville came here, he said, "America is a nation of clubs." He was coming from a nation of homos called France. But outside of that weak province, the West was a nation of clubs. The Knights of Columbus, the Know-Nothings, the Shriners. We always had these clubs, and Gloria Steinem decreed them sexist in the 80s, and that was the end of clubs. So I thought, why don't we bring this back? Why don't we have a men's club? No parameters, just dudes. You have to be born male, by the way. And believe it or not, that has actually come up. I've had bull dykes come and go, "Can I be part of this?" Sorry, no. Why not? We're never going to use this. And I go, yeah, just go to the Proud Boys girls and you'll be the most masculine one there as opposed to the most feminine man that we have in our club. Anyway, I gave away the name. But I started a men's club called the Proud Boys. And we have one caveat, and that is you have to be a Western chauvinist. Now, liberals are lazy, so they hear the word chauvinist and they assume male chauvinist, and that's why I use that word, because they're too lazy to look it up, and it just means a nationalist, a patriot. And you have to think the West is the best. And it exploded. There's thousands of members all over the world. There's Proud Boys Africa, there's Proud Boys Japan, we've got about 5 different divisions in Australia. And I just made it up. Like we're called Proud Boys because I went to one of my kids' music recitals and some ponce got up there, and while everyone's playing the piano and the violin and doing stuff they tried, he gets up and he goes, "Proud of your boy, I'll make you proud of your boy." It's some song from Aladdin. And I was looking around for the dad because I thought there's no way this dad is proud of his boy. And of course, he was the child of a single mom. Duh. His mother told him, "Yeah, sing a song, that's a talent." And there was no dad to say, "No, you're not. Play the piano, for Christ's sakes." So we made up these rules. There's, just like the Knights of Columbus, there's 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree. What's the 2nd degree, Gav? And I went, you have to get beaten up by 5 men for how long? Until you can name 5 breakfast cereals. Done. 3rd degree. What's the 3rd degree, Gav? You have to quit porn and get a tattoo. Done. It's massive. I was saying to Ann Coulter the other day, I'd love to have you come and do a talk at one of our meetups, but you're a woman. I don't know how to do that. Maybe you could wear a burqa or something, or you could do a video. And she goes, I don't want to come to your club. I don't want to ruin that. She goes, my father was in these kind of clubs. And one day they just disappeared. And what did men do? They were told it was sexist to congregate, so they went to strip clubs. Now, there's women there, but there's no ladies there. And you can fart, and you don't have to pull out chairs for anyone. You can tell offensive jokes. And this is considered a crime in today's day and age. And they tell us that we're racist and we're anti-Semitic. And I go, what about this black guy who's a member and this Jewish guy who's a member? And they go, they're racist and anti-Semitic. So this black guy's a white supremacist? Yes, he is. Well, that's handy. He can just sit at home and punch himself in the face all day. Like, I used to call it fake news, then I called it crazy news. It's crazy ex-girlfriend nudes. And these liberals are like, they're psychotic, calling black guys racist and Ben Shapiro a Nazi. I'm scared of them.
Yeah, and like I said, like there's I'm never going to get to everything on here, because it would take all night, but they've been involved in a bunch of this, so I'm just cherry-picking like some things to give you guys an idea of what they're like. So July 13th, 2017, the Proud Boys, an organization called Bikers Against Jihad, which is a bunch of bikers who don't like Middle Eastern people, organized a ride for national security. So there's a little hamlet of New York called Islamburg, and it's a Muslim enclave of about 200. It was kind of founded by Muslims, and it's been like a little like insular community of Muslims. It's kind of like in enclave just outside New York. But of course, white nationalists and fascists and conspiracy theorists think that like this is a hive of terrorists right outside of New York, and they're planning to blow up New York at any second because they're Muslims. Like, that's their line of thinking. Yeah, so the Proud Boys and the Bikers Against Jihad plan a protest of this city. They ride around this town with banners saying like go home, that they don't want you here, that like basically like, hey Muslims, get away from New York. Like that was their protest against them.
Real classy.
Oh yeah.
Tucked in the woods of upstate New York, Islamburg, a small Muslim community. Its residents left the city decades ago, seeking a safe place to worship and raise their children.
You can have them come outside and play without fear or worry that someone would bother them or attack them.
But for years, the group has been dogged by accusations. They are training terrorists here.
It's a bunch of nonsense. For the last 30 plus years, we've been training for this jihad. So why hasn't this jihad taken place?
Islamburg is one of 22 private communities run by the Muslims of America. It was started in the 80s by the largely African-American followers of Sheikh Mubarak Jilani, a Pakistani cleric.
In July 2017, up in Halifax, Indigenous protesters, including Chief Grizzly Mama, were accosted by 5 Proud Boys carrying a red ensign flag. You guys can look that up as well. It's a flag flown by Canada in past times, and symbols that didn't used to be white supremacist symbols can be made into white supremacist symbols just by them continuously choosing to use it. And throughout history, this red ensign flag, am I pronouncing that right, ensign?
Red ensign.
Yeah, red
ensign.
Yeah, red ensign flag has become a symbol of Canadian fascist parties. They went to the center of the protest, and the center of the protest was around a statue of Edward Cornwallis, who was known for his role in driving Indigenous people out of Halifax. They basically came up to them, and they said, like, okay, your people are sad that your land got taken away, but you know what? We're proud of our ancestors, and our ancestors are the ones that colonized yours. Like, they were basically saying, like, I'm glad our ancestors colonized you. Like, that was their counter-protest.
So why is she allowed the Micmac flag, but I'm not allowed my...
You're not allowed. This is a flag of genocide.
The flag of genocide.
Yes.
This was...
So
this is a country of genocide?
Yes,
we're living in a country of genocide?
I'm glad that you're now
Okay, so you guys are... Even though all of that was done with the Union Jack, this is the Confederate flag of Canada.
This is Mi'kmaq territory. This is not Canada.
This is Canada.
It
might have been Mi'kmaq.
So you don't have Canadian ID, you don't pay your taxes, you don't have a Medicare card?
This is not an argument.
Well, it is.
You need to have respect.
You need to have respect.
Yes,
so please
respect.
Please, you have to.
I feel like we're being respectful, but you're telling us our country doesn't exist.
It'd be great if you left, please.
Yes.
We're celebrating our country today.
You can stay and observe the ceremony, but you can't have a colonial genocidal flag, or you can leave.
Gavin McInnes in 2017 gets invited to speak at the Metropolitan Republicans Club. The club usually catered to old conservatives and the millennial MAGA crowd, but suddenly it was flooded with the black and yellow polo-wearing Proud Boys. They kicked the press out as Gavin started speaking, and when he finished, the Proud Boys stood on the side of one side of the street, and Antifa stood on the other side, surrounding the Republican Club. They did something strange. In a Jiro Ashuhama, the leader of a Japanese socialist party in 1960, he was made famous because he was the leader of a socialist party, and right-wing fanatic in Japan murdered him on stage with a samurai sword. The Proud Boys, including Gavin, recreated that, basically saying, like, we kill socialists.
That's fucking tasteless.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Gavin painted thin eyes on his sunglasses, got out a samurai sword, and recreated the 1960 assassination in front of protesters. Like, literally some, like, 1980s, like, oh, I'm Adam Sandler, and I'm pretending to be Asian bullshit.
Some sort of edgelord shit, you know?
Yeah.
He's trying to be an edgelord.
Yeah, like super edgelord.
Yeah, so Antifa was engaging in vandalism and some mischief, but tensions rose as Proud Boys and Antifa stood towards each other, verbally confronting each other on opposite sides of the street. The Proud Boys did a group charge towards Antifa. Antifa threw a bottle in response, and that resulted in the 12 Proud Boys charging and beating the 4 members of Antifa. Yet there was just 4 of them this time, and they beat them and caused injuries.
Oh, yo!
Oh my god! Oh my god! No! Oh my god! No!
Pick this motherfucker! Walk away!
2 members of the 12-man Proud Boy mob, so it was 12 versus 4, was eventually charged and convicted to 4 years in prison for assault. The defense that was defending the Proud Boys were arguing that they did it in self-defense against these 4 guys. They're saying, like, these 12 people beat up these 4 Antifa protesters in self-defense when they were greatly outnumbered. Yeah, of course that...
It seems like they only engage in fights when the odds are stacked against them. You know, like, or sorry, odds are stacked for them.
Oh yeah,
in their favor.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's a common. Yeah, the judge overseeing the case even stated that the Proud Boys were indistinguishable from a group of thugs. So the judge didn't agree with the defense, and he sentenced 2 of the 12 men to prison. Then there was the Unite the Right rally. This is when things got even too hot for Gavin McInnes. Even some of the platforms he's on, such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, he has to dog whistle a little bit, and he has to be a little bit hidden in his views in order not to be kicked off, because, like, places are more willing to deplatform people for fascist views these days, because a lot of platforms are on the search for that, so he could be more edgy in, like, 2016, 2017, but, like, coming up, like, just in recent history, like, he had to be a bit more careful. So this is when things got too hot for even him. The Unite the Right rally was a white supremacist neo-Nazi rally in Charlottesville in 2017. Prominent white nationalists, anti-Semitics, Klansmen, fascists, neo-Nazis either attended or gave their blessing. The focus of the rally devolved into a white genocide narrative, a la there was lots of chants about minorities are going to breed with white women and breed with the white men out. Basically, the great white replacement. Basically, these people who are brown and black are going to breed with our white women, and soon white men are going to be bred out of existence. And that's a huge, huge thing to fear.
What's that chant, like blood and iron or something?
Oh yeah, blood and soil.
Blood and soil.
Yeah, and that's a popular fascist saying. It was repeated in its original German by the SS troops of Nazi Germany, and it basically comes down to protect our country and our people, we are willing to bleed on our soil, like that kind of thing. Like,
What's is it, like 1314 or something? I know that 88
1488.
1488. Yeah.
So 1488 is a combination of 2 popular white supremacist numeric symbols. The first symbol is 14, which is shorthand for the 14-word slogan. The 14 words are, "We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children."
Yes, that one.
Yeah, and the second is 88.
Heil Hitler.
Yeah, because H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. Yeah. Oh yeah, and like these dog whistles and these chants were all over the Unite the Right rally.
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Blood and soil! 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 Whose streets? Our streets! 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 Whose streets? Our streets!
Several Proud Boys attended the rally, one of which was convicted of assault when he and 3 other men cornered a man named DeAndre Harris, a counter-protester, leaving the rally, walking into a car in his parking garage. So this is an anti-fascist protester who left the rally, walked into a parking garage, and was pursued by a Proud Boy and 3 other people. He was attacked by 4 men, and not only was he outnumbered, but each of these 4 men had a metal pipe, which they were beating him with. He had stitches that required 8 staples, a fractured forearm, a chipped tooth, multiple internal injuries, and a spinal cord injury by the end of it.
Good God.
Yeah, the Alex Romanos, the Proud Boy who assaulted him, was sentenced to 6 years in prison after this. You can't talk about the Unite the Right rally without mentioning the woman who was murdered. I just have to touch on it. James Alex Fields, not a Proud Boy, but he is a neo-Nazi domestic terrorist, plowed his car into a crowd of Antifa-aligned protesters and then backed it up, running over some of the people he just ran over and hitting more people, and then ran away. He injured 19 people, seriously injured 5 people, and killed 32-year-old Heather Heyer, a political advocate and advocist in cold blood, and another victim of, fascism. And
rest in power.
Rest in power.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's the other thing that gets me, is all these fucking people go on and on and on about Antifa violence and violence on the left and extreme left violence. Nobody's died at the hands of any Antifa, like we actually have injuries and death coming from these assholes on the right, but like Antifa people, they aren't out killing people,
Yeah.
Just the windows of Starbucks.
There's insurance, keeps the insurance people employed.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like vandalism, sure. Like corporate negligence, sure. Fraud, sure. But like Antifa really aren't violent people. Like there's been some violent incidents. Like when you have a group as large as Antifa, there's going to be some people that take it too far. But for anybody that's participated in like an anti-fascist protest, you know that you're encouraged to keep things peaceful because they know that you losing your temper and you going after them is like what they want. They want to egg you on. They want to make you break. They want to make you look bad.
Well, Antifa's not even like an organized group, actually. It literally just means anti-fascist. So it's like basically anyone who is into Nazi.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But like you end up with like all these asshole like fake reporters like Andy No, who's like, oh, they gave me a brain hemorrhage, and he's like sitting, doing tweets with like a one of those neck collars on, after he got like had a milkshake thrown at him, and it's just these guys are ridiculous, and they're trying to like exaggerate the violence of the left, and it's like, well, it's not. It's self-defense against these assholes who, embrace violence as one of their core components, their core beliefs, and like I said, I don't know too many leftists who embrace violence and, as part of their core identity. Like that's just, it's ridiculous. You want Antifa to go away. Here's what you do. Don't be a fucking fascist. You want fascists to go away? You have to drag the whole world into a war against them. That's right. I mean, let's talk about that. No, it's not left-wing violence. It's, it's left-wing self-defense against these mobs, these thugs.
Yeah, and what do fascists want? At the very least, they want to forcibly remove you from places you live so they can have it themselves. If they create an enclave somewhere, they're at the very least willing to forcefully remove you and make laws that are oppressive so you can never change things and never get back in. At the worst, they will capture and genocide people they don't believe in. Their toxic ideology that time and time again have been found to be the roots of genocide and murder and violence and discrimination throughout the world. I know it sounds like I'm reading old like Captain America comics talking about fighting fascism, but it's on the rise, and like we're living in fragile times when such like radical ideologies can kind of like stick in the mind of a lot of impressionable people.
Yep, that's right. Well, and even in the other episode that we did about like right-wing dog whistles and stuff, like it's becoming way more prevalent and easily accessible by young people.
Oh yeah.
And lots of like angry young people are glomming onto that kind of belief system, right?
And it's sometimes not even like their intention or their fault. Like when you look at systems like YouTube, like I'm going to do an episode about YouTube at some point, but
well, that's an alt-right recruitment thing there.
Yeah.
Like
it's almost automated.
It is. It's like you watch, like, I don't know. I like some sports clips. I'll watch a sports clip on YouTube. Maybe some hockey fight or whatever, and then it's like recommended videos. Milo and Ben Shapiro, and it's like this recruitment corridor for these right-wing thugs.
Yep.
Well, it's always like, have you guys ever heard of Lindsay Suvarnarath?
Nope. Tell me about it.
She was like a young, like half white, half Asian girl that got super hardcore into Nazi stuff and basically planned to blow up a mall in Halifax. Like, it's a really good podcast about it.
Holy shit.
And like Red Handed did a really good episode on it. But like it's insane how quickly she was radicalized online, like through on a DeviantArt, I think it was, is where she started. And then it was just like chat rooms, and it's just chilling hearing her talking about it. But yeah, check out Lindsay Suvarnarath. She's fucked up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so after this event where, Heather Heyer died, a Proud Boy got sent to jail, several more got arrested, and like many members of the alt-right showed up. And of course Trump said that there was, good people on both sides.
You're putting what you're calling the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, or you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
On both sides, sir, you said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
Nazis started this. They showed up in Charlottesville. They showed up in Charlottesville to protest.
Excuse me. They didn't put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
The FBI labeled the Proud Boys an extremist group, and labeling them an extremist group is basically telling federal and state law organizations how much priorities they should put towards them. So if something's labeled an extremist group, sometimes they're assigned their own task force, a group of people that will track their activity and movements and do investigations upon them, stuff like that. So although the FBI would eventually walk this back and instead say that some members of the Proud Boys are extremists, but the group itself is not extremist. Okay, bud. But even though they would walk it back eventually, at this time, Gavin stepped down and said he's not the leader of the Proud Boys anymore. And on one of his, audio podcasts that he has on one of his, probably Rebel Media, he said, this is 100% a legal gesture to help Proud Boys charged with crimes. So he basically said, I'm not stepping down for my own self-protection. I'm stepping down to improve the legal case of some of my boys that are being wrongly charged. Yeah. Jason Lee Van Dyke, a litigious legal system abuser that became known for suing anti-fascists and protesters, became the new leader of the Proud Boys. He was then removed internally, don't know why, and a new man, Enrique Tatario, a Cuban man, was the new leader of the Proud Boys. And, we were talking about, Jewish people can't be anti-Semitic, trans people can't be transphobic. Here is a Cuban man that fully believes in, a white ethno-state.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how he justifies that in his own mind. He's...
Well, there were Jewish collaborators in World War II as well.
Oh, yeah. Like, look at Blair White. Like, you don't need to find, like, there is no, like, bigger, like, anti-trans person. Well, maybe Buck Angel, maybe.
Look at every Republican woman.
Yeah.
How can they be so anti-women?
Yeah. Voting against their own interests. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he believes in all the... So this Enrique guy, he believes in all the Proud Boys past things. He continues all the things that Gavin pushed towards, all the things I mentioned towards, and he said that he's not going to change any of the group's core things. So they're still doing all the same things. In 2018, shit goes fucking wild in Portland. So over the course of a long time, the Proud Boys basically... trolled the mayor over and over and over again in Portland. Here's a quote. I promise you this, Ted Wheeler. I'm coming for you, you little punk. You and all your little Antifa bastards. I'm coming for you fuckers too. This is a message from Proud Boy Reggie Axtell to then January 19th, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler. So this is a message from a Proud Boy to the mayor of Portland.
That's bold.
Yeah. They claim that the mayor of Portland, shocker, has been working with and supporting Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and Democrats to snuff out alt-right-leaning people and the media. Happened was the Proud Boys put out a bunch of media releases saying that they would have daily protests. They basically advertised that we're going to hold a protest every day in Portland and raise a bunch of ruckus and cause a bunch of drama, and you can't stop us.
Wheeler keeps pandering to Antifa and not calling them out by name. We're going to keep coming out here. We're going to keep wasting his resources. He's going to call all the agencies that he's called. He's going to call the National Guard, the FBI, all of those people, and we're going to keep coming out here until Ted Wheeler does.
Listen, here in Portland, Oregon, we support the rights of people to assemble, and we support the rights of people to express their opinions. But when we have people from out of state say that they're going to come here every single month until we do whatever it is they think we should be doing, I want to give this some context. These types of demonstrations and the kind of response that we had to put in place today cost millions of dollars. And if we're spending money here today doing this, those are resources that could go to other top priorities in this community. So they're, number one, misusing public taxpayer resources, and I hope they think about that. More importantly, I hope that he understands that in this national environment where we had some mass shootings just a little over a week ago, there is an environment of fear. That is national. It's not unique to Portland. But at a time when people are expressing hatred, at a time when people are expressing intolerance, when there's rhetoric that is aimed predominantly at women and people of color and immigrants, it creates a sense of uncertainty and a sense of fear. And so others saying that they're going to come here, that feeds in to that sense of fear. So I want to be very clear. We do not want him here in my city, period.
The Portland mayor spent $2 million preparing. He brought extra police on. He called police from other counties. He spent $2 million because the Proud Boys say we're going to cause some huge, giant alt-right protests and we're going to plunge your city into chaos. When the time came, the Proud Boy presence was mild, with a couple peaceful protests, and the Proud Boy later saying that we wanted to disrupt Portland and force them to spend their money. And they even put out a video later saying hey, Mayor, thanks for the $2 million weekend in Portland.
I'm the definition of half man, half
Mr. Wheeler, the next time you come at the Proud Boys, tell your barista to hold the sword.
Nothing but big things. Check the hit list, how we twist shit. What changed with the name? We still here, you're rocking with the best.
Hey, Mayor Ted Wheeler, thanks for footing the bill on our $2 million weekend in Portland. Maybe you wouldn't have to spend that kind of money if you did your job. You know what? And if you don't do your job, We're going to continue to come back peacefully as always, but you guys will do what you always do. You're the ones that are hateful. You're the ones that are intolerant. You're the ones that don't want to coexist. You're the ones that are freaking bloodthirsty and psycho. We came in here and exposed you and your criminal element, and we'll continue to do so until you're fired or someone else gets in your job, and then we'll make sure they do their job. Roger? So enjoy it, because we are.
Hey, now we need to make sure Antifa is considered domestic terrorists in our country, because we can't tolerate it anymore. Nope.
Appreciate the hospitality, Ted. I've had a great time this weekend.
So you have this mayor that is openly supportive of Black Lives Matter, of protests and demonstrations, of Antifa, and the Proud Boys single him out to harass him. And they throw many, many events in Portland in order to waste the taxpayers' money, and in order to quote-unquote make Ted Wheeler change his ways, aka don't support Antifa or Black Lives Matter anymore, or until Mayor Ted Wheeler gets fired or a new mayor is instated. Like, they've gone from being the defenders of right-wing speakers and defending against the hordes of Antifa protesters into trolling a city to try and affect its local politics because the mayor supports Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Their allegiances are very quickly changing. They seem inconsistent with what they're trying to do. Their whole purpose wasn't even clear anymore. It's like they just wanted Portland to waste money. Like, that's what they wanted to do.
Just fucking trolls.
Yeah, so the members of Proud Boys, and the member of fascist prayer and activism group Patriot Prayer come together to dox members of Antifa in an attempt to ostracize, silence, affect their livelihoods, and bring harm upon them. Doxing somebody can have a lot of effects. Sometimes it can get them fired. Sometimes it can, tell dangerous people where they live. Sometimes it can, affect their relationships or who they work with. And they were threatening to do people with that. Skylar Jurgensen, a Proud Boys affiliate and a Patriot Prayer member, said, you're going to be getting knives put into your throat, bullets put into your head, if you don't stop this shit with us. And that's, Antifa members daring to, counter-protest them. They went as far as to try and do some political activism and speeches at this point. They basically tried to menace protesters, and they were wasting taxpayer money, and they did all this stuff to trigger the libs. So they're having lots of different events all over America, kind of little, protests, and, they seem to be shifting their focus from defending alt-right speakers to just, trolling and triggering the libs. And, it's weird that, an entire political organization seems to have, their goal be to trigger the libs. It doesn't seem very, productive. I guess it's fun? I guess they're having fun? I don't know why they do it.
I don't know. We should see if we could infiltrate the Proud Boys and change the organization from the inside. So they're they go around just picking up litter and shit and not being little shitheads,
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we should do. We should try to infiltrate them and then turn them into a community service organization that Father would actually be proud of.
I'm gonna try and join. I'm sure there's some message board on some hidden Nazi forum on the Onion Net.
4chan or 4chan's politically incorrect or whatever. They could probably railroad you right into that organization if you say the right thing.
If I'll infiltrate, I'll give updates on the after show. Yeah.
Please
do.
do.
Shit, that'd be awesome.
So the Proud Boys would go through cycles. They would announce meetings and then meet elsewhere, both to partially hide their activities and to waste counter-protesters' times. They would dox members of Antifa by watching videos closely and trying to get glimpses of personal info, like a face or a tattoo or a piercing, and then they would look through, profiles on universities to try and match people. And they began to get associated with many prominent alt-right figures. So many prominent alt-right figures started to associate with them, including Alex Jones. Alex Jones spoke fondly of the Proud Boys many times, implying that they are decent young men fighting the good fight.
Ah, yes, those decent young men.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good bonding thing, though.
Yeah. Well, see, that's Proud Boys are called violent because they have these beat-ins where you have to name 5 breakfast
Which are pretty nice, but they're not hitting them that hard.
We used to do that all the time. In high school, if you farted and you didn't say safety, we all got to be, or burped, we all got to beat you up until you could name 5 chocolate bars.
And obviously, you're not hitting them full power. I mean, I've seen the little ritual.
I'm not trying to kill anyone. No, you just, well, there's a lot of good techniques.
Tell you what, I'm joining Proud Boys, even though you're not the leader of it anymore. Go ahead and initiate me right now.
Okay.
All right, we're going to initiate for TV viewers right now. Go ahead. All right.
So you have to say, I'm a proud Western chauvinist.
Don't hit me as hard as you do the arm.
Okay.
All right, here we go. I'm actually scared. Okay, go ahead.
I'm a proud Western chauvinist. And I refuse to apologize. For creating the modern world. Okay, you will now name 5 breakfast cereals. 1, 2, 3.
Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops, Mini Wheats, Raisin Bran. Okay, I'm done.
Was that 5? I was concentrating on my punches too much.
I can't remember another one. All right, I'm done.
Kellogg's cornflakes.
But I've now been officially initiated into this terror group.
Yep. You're now second-degree Proud Boy.
Okay.
And
I like how you didn't hit me very hard the first time and hit me a lot harder later. That's a little sneaky.
Yeah, it's pool hustler. You're a mark.
Rat fucker and real-life mad puppet master Roger Stone, who was an integral part of many conservative political campaigns in the 80s and 90s. He was kind of like a campaign manager. He was
and his name is Rat Fucker.
Rat Fucker Roger Stone. That's his birth name. Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna propagate that. Yeah, that's 100% true. Don't look it up. It's 100% true though. He was made an official spokesman of the Proud Boys.
Mr. Stone, is there something that you want to tell the Proud Boys?
Yeah, absolutely. Keep the faith. Don't let them wear you down. The globalists, the two-party duopoly, Robert Mueller, the deep state, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they want to wear us down. Never give up the fight. We will prevail. A man is not defeated, let me just get this right. A man is not finished when he is defeated. He is only finished when he quits. Richard Nixon. God bless you.
Uhuru.
During Roger Stone's recent legal battle, where he was convicted of 7 counts in connection with the Mueller investigation, the leader of the Proud Boys, Enrique, had a shirt that said Stone did nothing wrong. So the leader of the Proud Boys in recent time is out and out supporting Roger Stone in this in his case against the Mueller investigation. So you see Proud Boys and Roger Stone kind of like getting together, and Roger Stone like at one time had the ear of Donald Trump. So that's 1 degree away from the President of the United States, which is terrifying. Yeah. So the Proud Boys went from an organization that like hosted a talk or reality or presentation, and then they would intimidate and beat up protesters that show up, to now they would do something to attract protesters, and then they would attack, dox, and harass and assault those that showed up. So they aren't defending a presentation anymore. They're purposely like trying to lure people in so that they can fight them, so that they can dox them, so that they can harass them. Like that became the point. Over the last year, the Proud Boys have imploded, but they have not gone away. Social media sites say that the Proud Boys used to recruit on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, but all accounts associated with the Proud Boys got banned. So they started associating with alt-right figures that weren't banned, like Andy Neo, an alt-right journalist who reported that Antifa poured a quick-dry cement milkshake on alt-right people's heads. You want to know how wrong that actually is? This is how wrong that actually is.
Yeah, that definitely happened. You know, that milkshake thing definitely happened. Yeah, definitely had concrete in it, you know.
It definitely wasn't just like a strawberry milkshake.
You want to... You want to know how incorrect they were? So Andy Ngo said that like these Antifa people put something in the milkshake to make it more dangerous. Not only did they not do that, they were even considerate towards fascists, which means they made their milkshake with coconut milk just in case the fascist they poured it on was lactose intolerant or sensitive to dairy or vegan. Like, they were actually considerate to the fucking, like, it's the exact fucking opposite.
Well, and that's the thing about this Andy No fellow is he's like makes his report. You know, he shows the Antifa retaliation, but not the Proud Boys instigating it. And then he tries to make them out to be like they're these thugs and this innocent group just trying to have their rally or their protest just gets attacked by these Antifa thugs, and one of them had a hammer. And like he makes up all this shit, hey, and of course like other videos surface which show the Proud Boys instigating this, and there's even like recordings of Andy meeting with these Proud Boys that have surfaced where he's like talking to them and like encouraging shit, like it's him trying to like make a name for himself and using this group as a vehicle for it.
Andy Ngo is an independent journalist in the Pacific Northwest. He's been on the show a number of times. He covers Antifa quite a bit. He was at an Antifa rally over the weekend, minding his own business, covering the news. He's a journalist. When he was beaten almost to death by Antifa, wound up in the hospital. He just got out and joins us now on this program. We're happy to see him. Andy, I'm glad you're capable of doing this interview. Tell us what happened.
On Saturday, documenting this protest that was organized by Antifa and its allies, we were a literal stone's throw away from Portland's most important institutions of the rule of law, the courthouses, the sheriff's office, the Central Police Precinct. While hearing people chant, "No hate, no fear," I'm suddenly bashed on the back of my head from behind. And from there, I'm a very passive person. I've never been in a fight. It took me a few seconds to realize that I was actually even hitting my head. When I realized what was happening, it was too late. A mob of people, all dressed in black and wearing masks, started beating me with their fists, and some of them used objects to hit me. I don't know how many people were involved. It seemed like 5, 10, 15, or 20. It could have been that many. They beat me so much that I lost control of my GoPro camera that I was holding, which was then stolen from me. And when I thought it was over, I was wrong. I put my arms up to try to shield my face, as well as to signal to them that I was surrendering and that I wasn't there to fight, but that really signaled to them to be more aggressive. So then they started dumping what I believe were milkshakes and eggs, throwing it at my face, which blinded me, so I couldn't see, and I was kicked some more, punched some more, and all this time I kept thinking, where are the police? I could still see the Multnomah County Justice Center in front of me, but no police ever arrived. I eventually stumbled away, bleeding, across the park, and I lost my balance, so I sat down on the ground in front of the courthouse. And from there, a medic SWAT team informed me that in order to get an ambulance to be taken to a hospital, I would have to walk to the police precinct. In other words, walk back in the direction of the demonstrators who just attacked me. Later that night, after arriving in the emergency room, I had a CT scan, which confirmed that I was diagnosed with a brain hemorrhage.
Oh yeah, and like
that's right.
Like just because we mentioned Andy Ngo, there's a podcast that just came out. I understand what this podcast is trying to doing. They're trying to be like the no hate podcast. Like, so let's bring people together that disagree so they can have a valuable conversation. And one of the people they brought him was Andy Ngo. And the way they structured the conversation made it so, like basically so Andy could, like, rehabilitate himself. Like, they weren't allowed to bring up each other's past. They weren't allowed to criticize each other. They had to have, like, a conversation without judgment. And because of that, Andy was just able to give excuses and justify everything that he's done with lies. And he wasn't able to be called on any of his bullshit. And, like, people, like, make sure that you platform these figures correctly, or else they will just confuse the timeline and do propaganda to your audience. And I'm just frustrated because the entire time listening to it, I know all about Andy Ngo, and like he was just lying through his teeth the whole time, and the other person, who was a leftist, wasn't allowed to criticize him for it because it was a judgment-free conversation and shit like that. And yeah.
Well, didn't he, like, lose his job? Like, he wrote for the Quillette, or was an editor for Quillette, which was, you know, a publication. And I think after the thing where he was, like, talking about how he had this, like, cerebral hemorrhage or something, you know, quite, I don't know, it was, you know, the usual bullshit that these people come up with. But I think Quillette turfed him after that. Like, somebody was able to, you know, surface some dirt on him that shows him as, you know, as this little asshole who's, you know, trying to instigate
Well,
shit.
I forget the exact context, but he was fired because he took a recording of someone and then he edited it so it removed, like, part of the context, and it changed what that person was saying. And, like, a society of journalists, like, officially disavowed him, saying, like, this guy purposely, like, changed what this person was saying by removing the context and was trying to mislead, like, the people he was writing to. And that's not what media people do. And that's why he was fired. And then, of course, he goes on to lie about it, saying, like, oh, this is a left-wing rag that's, like, banned me because I was too edgy for them. And, like,
isn't the Quillette pretty right-wing?
Oh, yeah, but
I don't know.
Andy goes pretty far to the right.
Yeah.
Like, whenever, and that's another thing with Gavin, too, because Gavin has been kicked off a bunch of these right-wing things, too, and whenever he gets kicked off one of these, he just says, like, oh, they're just in bed with the Democrats. They're as bad as the liberals and shit like that. And,
bunch of liberal cocks.
yeah. So, leaked message started showing that the grand majority of their conversations of the Proud Boys have moved to the encrypted message service Telegram. They reveal that they're planning many more rallies. They also reveal that the violence is premeditated because they discuss tactics on how to bait Antifa into attacking them first, or bait Antifa into throwing something at them first so they have a reasonable justification to charge. They discussed how to discreetly murder people, how to discreetly remove bodies, including pushing people out of a helicopter into the ocean miles offshore. Enrique...
Been there, done that? Like, that's been done.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was Pinochet, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, these guys are still current and active, like, as recent as February 2019. And I think if I were... I did this research a while ago. I think even more recently he was invited to rallies before the world shut down. But Enrique Tatorio, the current leader of the Proud Boys, was invited to sit directly behind Trump during a speech in February 19, personally invited by Trump.
Well, didn't Trump say there were plenty of fine people on both sides of the the incident in Charlottesville?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so...
where Hitler was murdered?
100%.
Makes sense.
Oh, yeah. And, when the Proud Boy was defending Roger Stone, he was 1 degree away from Donald Trump. Now he's 0 degrees away from Donald Trump. Like, he has a direct connection with the president, this dipshit Proud Boy who believes all this Western chauvinist, like, bigoted bullshit. Like, it's terrifying. Portland so far has seen 12-odd Proud Boy protests, with 20 violent incidents taking place. Like I said, they keep on picking on Portland for some reason. The Portland police were recently caught planning locations and coordinating and sympathizing with police. So Antifa were, not Antifa. The Proud Boys and the Portland police were caught kind of like talking to each other and coordinating like how to get away from Antifa so that the Proud Boys could do what they want. So the Proud Boys were like pulling the ear of the police in Portland to work with them. The numbers are still low. From my estimates, there are about 3,000 odd Proud Boy active members out there, but of course a lot of their conversation has gone to encrypted services, so who knows how many could be active.
Right.
Yeah. They are regulars at Trump rallies, and they are thought to be used for stumping and campaigning. So they might be like going door to door like for Trump in this upcoming election. Yeah. So Proud Boys, they've had 111 violent incidents caused by them, 218 injuries caused by them, 49 arrests, 11 convictions, and I mean, with this latest election kind of firing up to be a really contentious one, a lot of things are at stake. Maybe the Proud Boys could just be getting started, especially since the leader of the Proud Boys is snuggling up next to Trump. Scary times.
Yes.
Alrighty. Any other thoughts? That's all I got for the Proud Boys.
Well,
Thanks, I need it.
Doing some more research, it looks like in September 2019, there was a volunteer fire department that the chief or whoever, I'm not sure, but they were doing an initiation, or they were involved in the Proud Boy initiation. So like that was as recent as September 2019. So I mean, it seems like they would still be active.
And sorry, that was a fireman?
Yeah. Name here, Bruce McClay Jr. Maybe I can find something more on him here.
That's a disappointment. Firemen are more likely to be comrades, but I guess not this one.
Okay, from what I find here, the Philadelphia Inquirer, a volunteer firefighter did the right thing when he attempted to resign last month from the Bon Air Fire Company in Haverford Township after his past interest in joining an extremist group called the Proud Boys was brought to light. So I guess they refused to accept his resignation, apparently. The fire department.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah. But so I mean, this is, like I said, September 2019 this came out. So I mean, it's only been a few months since, so I'm sure they're fairly active.
Oh yeah, and like I said, like the leader of it has been like very active. Like I think where he lives, I think he lives in Florida somewhere, but he's on Twitter all the time with a bunch of Proud Boys. Like he's very engaged. So I wouldn't be surprised if some shit's gonna go down.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah. So that's it about the Proud Boys. Yeah, kind of a really cringy, like nerdy, but yet really violent and dangerous extremist group. And they're dorky as fuck. So yeah. I hope you had fun listening to it. For Occultae Veritatis, I've been Ood Gallifrey.
Sage Murray.
And I'm Richard Bigley.
That's never going to get old, I'm sure.
Nope.
Alrighty.
Have a good night.
Love you, bye.
Alrighty, that's the end of the Proud Boys. We'll get you some other subject to listen to next week. Hopefully your pandemic is going well. This is being recorded in the past, and I don't know when this is going to be released exactly, so maybe it's over for you, or maybe you're still in the middle of it. Either way, playing us out this week, instead of a song from the early 1900s, we're going with a song submission. Sometimes people send us songs that they want us to play. Usually it's songs that they have created or that one of their buddies have created. You know, if we have direct permission from the artist, we can play the song. So this song is Dreamin' by Darrin Jones. You can find Darrin Jones at SoundCloud under Lord Darrin or under Spotify under Darrin Jones. That's DarrinJones. Enjoy, and see you in the after show.
Yeah, breakfast in bed, maybe some coffee in head, yeah. Just thinking ahead, taking notes of the things that you said, yeah. Might use them as lyrics. I know that you like to get wet when you hear it. Dream catching your spirit, float through your mind. I like her appearance, she liking my vibe. Just how it appears is a hell of a feeling. Approaching the peak, we float through the ceiling. We loose, we chillin'. We astral project, we fucking make love. We use no protect. These cards on my deck, the queen of my hand, man, moves like his chest. We leaving a mess, then sleep off the stress. She sleep on my chest, like birds in a nest, like birds in a cloud. We leaving Earth now, straight to the moon. Don't wait for the sun, we sleeping past noon. Setting the mood, slow motion the vibe, but rapid I move. Dig what I'm saying, drifting away, this nap a vacation. What's your destination? Tune like a station, this group meditation. Mind elevation, we go with the flow cause we levitating. Fully awakened, good vibrations. Dreaming, dream about you when I'm sleeping. Wanna see you on the weekend. Wake up with you on the weekend. Yeah. Dream about you when I'm sleeping. Wanna see you on the weekend. Wake up with you on the weekend. Yeah. We can go up. You know how I'm rocking these vibes in my cup with the girl of my dreams. I'm not trying to dull, so I gotta stay up. We up on a cloud, don't wanna come down. It's only us now. We get deeper and deeper. We're kind like a sleeper, she my type of diva. Blow counts like a steamer, head like a dreamer, girl goes like a keeper. I gotta keep her, groovy demeanor. I hate when I leave her. Come back like retriever, connect like receiver. She hot like a fever, manifesting my dreams. Now she here at my leisure. Dreaming about you when I'm sleeping. Wanna see you on the weekend. Wake up with you on the weekend. Yeah. Dream about you when I'm sleeping. Wanna see you on the weekend. Wake up with you on the weekend.
So, as with Onision, this episode was recorded a month or two ago, and things have been developing since then. By developing since then, I mean a fucking pandemic has shut down the entire goddamn world. And in these times, even the Proud Boys are taking advantage of the situation. I'm sure on the news you've heard of the many anti-stay-at-home order protests that have been led by many far-right figures. And guess which group is one of the prominent members around all those rallies? Yep, the Proud Boys. Here's a compilation of these rallies and the type of political messages being propagated throughout them.
Hey! You can't close America! You can't close America! America will reopen! Texas is leading the way!
Open Texas now! Open Texas now! Open Texas now!
Let us work! Let us work! Let us work! Let us work! No more tyranny! No more tyranny! No more tyranny!
Enrique, the current leader of the Proud Boys, as well as other members of the Proud Boys, have already been noticed by prominent political figures. As I said before, Roger Stone, Alex Jones, even Trump himself has acknowledged them. I think they're going to be a part of the right-wing machine, a part of the way that the right wing is going to try and capture the 2020 election, demonize the Democrats and hoist themselves up. So, stay tuned. From Occultae Veritatis, I'm Bunud Gallifrey. Make sure to drink enough water. If you're thirsty, you're probably already dehydrated. So drink up. Have a wonderful night.